Hello, brothers and sisters. Thanks for joining. The anti-Semitism coming out of the UK is crazy right now. I had thought that it was crazy when all the pro-Palestinian marches were happening around college campuses over the last year or two, but the hits just keep coming in the UK. First, we have a couple of weeks ago, a couple of Jewish worshipers murdered at a synagogue by a terrorist, and his name is literally Jihad. Then Jews are not allowed to watch football in Birmingham. We'll have to see what goes on there. Keir Starmer has said this can't be allowed, and I hope he doesn't allow it. I hope he forces the West Midlands police to do their job. Turns out, I think that the police in the UK are fit for purpose only to go after people who are doing mean tweets and chase street preachers. They don't actually go after real villains and hoodlums and thugs. Their job is actually to provide security at things like football matches and arrest the thugs. If they're hoodlums, arrest the hoodlums. The police and the local MP have said, oh, it's to stop violence because after what happened to the same fans in Amsterdam. But most of that was Muslims that attacked them. And so really, the West Midlands police are saying that they can't do their job and keep Jewish supporters safe in Birmingham. So is Birmingham now a no-go zone for Jews? Keir Starmer, if there's not sufficient police forces in West Midlands, he needs to pull forces from other places. And I don't know what the law says about that, but he just needs to make it happen. And if he can't make it happen, you know what? He should send in the army. And I don't know if that's legal. I'm not a lawyer, but that's what he should do, because it's intolerable that Jews cannot watch a football match in Birmingham because Muslims might misbehave. That is not the Britain that we want to live in. But then we have another one. Lawyer arrested for wearing the Star of David. This has got to be a misprint, right? It's October 18th. This was just 2 days ago. The other day, I wrote a piece arguing that Western governments were Islamizing their societies. By now, I shouldn't have to prove my point. It's obvious if you bother to look. But with that said, it's important to document the decline and use the evidence to warn people who still refuse to see. Watch police interview footage obtained by the Telegraph shows a detective accusing the Jewish man of openly wearing the Star of David. Let's watch it. This can't be true. This story is saying it's illegal to wear the Star of David in the UK now. Let's see this.
What necklace are you wearing?
What necklace am I wearing?
Yeah.
Star of David?
I think he set out his position in his statement that he was there as a legal observer.
All right, so there was a man at a pro-Palestine demonstration and he was wearing a necklace, okay?
I think that's the concern.
That is what saying.
Yes.
But I've obviously got to investigate an allegation, and that these are the questions that I'm putting to him to either prove your involvement or non-involvement in the allegation. Okay?
So it's illegal to antagonize protesters now. So in the UK, it's illegal to counter-protest, I guess, because counter-protests always antagonize protesters. Okay?
What necklace are you wearing?
What necklace am I wearing?
Yeah.
Star of David?
So he's wearing a Star of David necklace.
Because the officer details this in their statement.
What, that I've got a Star of David?
Yeah.
So?
They felt that the actions that I've just mentioned about going up close proximity to the pro-Palestinian protesters.
Can I speak to my lawyer for a second?
Of course you
Am
can.
I able to...
Yeah, I mean, I'm concerned about this question about the Star of David.
Why are you concerned?
Well, I think I'll have a private consultation and we'll set out my concerns.
Okay. The time is 02:09 and I'm...
He's getting questioned about wearing a Star of David necklace. So are those illegal now in the UK? Is it legal to wear a cross? Same thing, right? It's just a Christian religious symbol. So can you wear crosses? Can you wear Islamic crescent moons in the UK? Are those okay? And I know he was wearing it near a protest, but if he was on a public pavement walking around near a protest with a necklace, is that now illegal in the UK?
Pausing the interview. My line of questioning, first and foremost, is not to offend It's not to discriminate. I want to have that on record. I'm not asking that question to cause you any offence. However, if we'd have proceeded with my line of questioning, the officers have noted in their statements that they believed that because the Star of David was out and present to people which may take either offence to the presence of it, they felt that that was antagonising the situation further.
So it's illegal in the UK to offend people in public. That's what I just heard.
Okay, well, I'm going to say that I think that's, with respect, appalling and shows a complete lack of ignorance on behalf of those officers.
Okay.
Because if they were familiar with the fact that IJAM were organising the protests, then they would recognise that how could a Mogen David cause offence, notwithstanding the fact that, you know, we shouldn't be in a situation where people can't walk around wearing a sign of their religion. It's not like. So I do have a great deal of concerns with the officer's response and the line of questioning, but I've recorded it on tape.
So, to that point, I myself, and I believe for the Metropolitan Police Service as well, I don't believe that anyone has acted with a view to cause anyone an offence. However, we're talking.
If you arrest someone for wearing their religious symbol, that's causing offence. If that's why you arrest them, 100%. This gentleman needs to sue the Met for arresting him for wearing a Star of David.
We're not talking about wearing a Star of David. I don't know what you're referring to, a Mogodovid?
Yeah, sorry, a Star of David.
Star of David, I haven't heard that.
Apologise.
We're not talking about walking around with a Star of David chain on his neck in a open forum in public generally. We're talking about a very niche environment where tensions are high, where two sides are coming together, have adverse opinions, adverse views. That, I think, we can't open it up to say anyone can't walk around wearing what they want to wear. We're not talking about human rights in terms of where what he's wearing in a public forum. We're talking about a hostile environment where pro-Palestinian protesters are obviously objecting to what is happening in Israel and Gaza.
Okay, I don't.
The way the police are interpreting the law, it is illegal now to counter-protest. If you ever offend the protesters on the other side, you'll get arrested. That's what I just heard. If you had a sign up with a Star of David on it, you could be arrested if you were near a pro-Palestinian protest. If you had a sign in support of Israel, you could be arrested because you were supporting them. Does it only go one way? Do we only arrest Jews? Is that how it is? Or do we arrest Christians too? Would we arrest Muslims if they had Muslim symbols that were offensive up? I think we all know the answer to those questions.
That's what I want to say on that, and I'm not. I don't want this to become a political debate in an interview.
It is a political debate. We're at a protest. It's a political protest, and you, Mr. Met officers, have just silenced the opposition. That's what we just saw. The Met has taken a political stance on this, and they're going to say they did it so that there wasn't disorder. Which is fair enough because the disorder laws are there, but the disorder and the hate speech laws are so vague. This is what happens. Now you spend hours having to go through the investigation, and then you may get charged, maybe, or maybe not. Probably not. I bet he's never charged in this case. And it's just a big waste of time. But it's not just a waste of time. They just suppressed his speech, his freedom to express his counter views to the pro-Palestinian protest. So the police just took a side here.
I appreciate that.
So, as to my last point that I made to you, the officers have written in their statements about the presence of of your necklace. Do you see how that could be an antagonistic emblem or sign, however you want to phrase it, to people in that environment?
I advise you not to answer the question.
I have nothing further to add.
It's a fishing expedition now. If he says hey, I don't care if I antagonize them. That's my free speech. Now they can say, you admitted to causing disorder. And so his lawyer's quite right to tell him to not say anything. But again, this is censorship by the government of his speech. There is no free speech in the UK anymore. In my view, free speech also includes the ability to protest. It's a form of free speech.
I would put it to you that you have been present at this protest, knowing full well the conditions imposed by Commander these were imposed on the 29th of the 8th 2025 at 15:25. You've sought advice from Gold Commander or the inspector on the ground. You've been made aware of these conditions. You're well aware of these conditions that are in place.
All right, so it looks like the police, on their own authority in the UK, can just now ban counter-protests, and that's what this commander did.
I put it to you that you were well aware that your presence to a certain sector of that protest was going to antagonise it.
We're at the point where he should answer no more questions. The police are looking to throw him in jail like Lucy Conley for being Jewish.
Is that a question?
It's a speech. I've advised you not to answer it.
Well, I'm putting it to you. Like, what have you got to say?
I have nothing further to add.
Yeah, we're at the point where anything else he says is going to incriminate himself because of the crazy laws in the UK.
I put it to you that you've knowingly breached those conditions by going between the two protest areas. You've been warned by officers multiple times to stop. You've still been acting in the way that you wished. Is that the fact?
So there we've seen it. Jewish man arrested after his Star of David antagonized protesters. I didn't know this. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm not a lawyer, but in the UK, it looks like the police can just ban counter-protest. Again, there is no free speech in the UK if you allow this. As you know, the speech police, who are the actual police in the UK, can arrest somebody if they have or may cause offense to somebody. This in itself is outrageous. It creates a heckler's veto for speech. And since the crime is unevenly enforced, it's creating a two-tier justice system for which left-wing or Islamic speech of any sort is protected, while speech by people that are not left-wing is silenced. Yeah, that's actually the real problem. It's the two-tier application. Because, again, as I said earlier, we all know that if he was wearing a crescent moon at a pro-Jewish protest, nobody would have arrested him. No one would have made any complaints. There would have been no problem. But the other side complains about everything, and then the police go on their side and help them because they don't want to be seen as racists. I get it. But no, it should be 100% legal for someone to walk anywhere in public with a symbol of their faith. The police should not be able to ban that. This is the same thing that's happening with the Aston Villa football because Aston Villa fans might misbehave. Regular Jewish supporters can't go and watch the game. This is the same as women shouldn't be able to walk down the street in a tight skirt, or they deserve what they get. So we need to stop them from doing that. This is the same thing. This should not be allowed in liberal countries. Christians can be arrested for silent praying. Yep, we've seen that. Muslims can and do take over streets in central London, blocking traffic to do their own prayers. Yeah, anyone who pulls out a prayer mat and prays in the middle of the street, they should be arrested. That's got to be against the law for blocking traffic. If you want to pray in a public area, that's fine, but you can't be impeding other people. They're doing that as a sign of control and pushing the boundaries and normalizing their bad behavior. They don't do this in the Middle East, folks. In the Middle East and Pakistan, they're not out there blocking traffic with their prayer when they're praying. The ones that are doing it are just lunatics trying to cause trouble. Muslims and pro-Hamas people can march calling for the murder of Jews and the destruction of English society, but a man wearing the Star of David can be arrested merely for watching while Jewish. That's right. You read that right. He was arrested for wearing a religious pendant less than an inch across. Here's an example of what he was wearing. Okay, so that's what he was wearing. Again, If he was wearing a cross, could he have been arrested? If he was wearing a crescent moon, could he have been arrested? It's intolerable that they would arrest him for wearing that near a protest. 10 hours in custody for wearing that around Muslims. So yeah, we're creating no-go zones for non-Muslims. The man said, "It's outrageous that police should claim wearing a Star of David somehow antagonizes people. When it was first raised in the police interview, it rang alarm bells for me immediately. Police crossed the line. They are trying to criminalize the wearing of a Star of David. They said I was antagonizing and agitating pro-Palestinian protesters with my Star of David in an environment of anti-Semitism. I will not be cowed by this. I will carry on wearing it." Sir Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, has come under growing criticism for allowing alleged anti-Israeli marches to continue, even after the murder of 2 Jews on Yom Kippur at a synagogue in Manchester. Police have been accused of ignoring chants that are either anti-Semitic or support terrorist groups. Yeah, From the River to the Sea is 100% anti-Semitic. If you are saying that, you should be arrested under the hate speech laws in the UK. Now, again, I always say I don't think there should be hate speech laws, but they do exist, and they're applied to people like Lucy Conley for saying she didn't care if some migrant hotels got burned down, but then they're not applied for people that are saying death to Jews. The two-tiered has got to stop. The lawyer claims he has recorded up to 30 incidents of criminal behavior by pro-Palestine protesters, but insists not a single one led to a conviction. He claims to have been personally abused on a number of occasions, including being called a Zionist baby killer. "This is one of the clearest examples of two-tier policing you will ever see," he said. "Police are arguing that wearing the Star David is antagonizing to protesters, while we have seen all manner of anti-Semitic slogans on placards and shouted at Jews that have gone unpunished." Yeah, 100%, two-tier. Police claim that his presence close to protesters was provocative and violated public order rules. Those rules need to get changed, folks. Those laws need to get pulled. There are countless videos of Muslims in Britain explicitly calling for the murder of Jews and Christians in some cases, and announcing their intentions of bringing down British society and replacing it with Sharia law. Yet the authorities have arrested preteens for waving English flags. The British left is foursquare behind these policies, not because they particularly want to Islamicize our society, but because their ideological commitment to destroy the dominant social order and elevate people whom they consider oppressed. Ironically, they're promoting the colonization of Britain in the name of decolonization. Yeah, that's right. If you can't fly your own flag in your own country whenever you want, you're a conquered country. You know that, right? Oh, let's watch what J.D. Vance said.
I was talking with a friend recently, and we were talking about, one of the big dangers in the world, of course, is nuclear proliferation, though, of course, the Biden administration doesn't care about it. And I was talking about, what is the first truly Islamist country that will get a nuclear weapon? And we were like, maybe it's Iran, maybe Pakistan already kind of counts. And then we sort of finally decided maybe it's actually the UK, since Labour just took over. But
America is definitely seeing Britain becoming an Islamist country. I hope Britain sees it. And if you're okay with that, all right. But I would not want to live in a country under Islamic law. I want to live under a country that has embedded in it liberal ideals and freedom. That is not Sharia law. Stop being colonized. Britain is lost. So what do you think? Is Britain becoming an Islamist country? I think so. If you don't want that, vote in politicians that will safeguard liberal ideals. The anti-Semitism has to stop. It's just the beginning. If you keep going down this path, then the only acceptable religion in the UK is going to be Islam. And as we've seen, Islam is not very tolerant of people that aren't from Islam, at least not the brand of Islam that the UK is importing. If you like this, like and subscribe. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Thanks. Bye.